In life, loyalty is not proven in moments of comfort, but in times of test and sacrifice. Many people can show devotion when it benefits them, but true loyalty shines when it costs something. Sometimes what seems like an ordinary act of kindness can reveal the deepest truth of a person's heart. Today's story is about a king, his most trusted guard, and a hidden test that changed everything. In a great kingdom surrounded by mountains and rivers, there lived a king named Adrian. He was strong and wise, and his people respected him for ruling with fairness. By his side always stood his personal guard, a man named Marcus. For over 10 years, Marcus had served the king faithfully. He watched over the palace gates, guarded the royal chambers, and even accompanied the king on dangerous journeys. Everyone in the palace admired Marcus's loyalty, and the king himself often said, "I trust Marcus with my life." But the king was also a thoughtful man. He knew that loyalty can sometimes be driven by duty, reward, or fear, not by true devotion. So one day, he decided to test Marcus in a way that would reveal his guard's heart. Early one morning, the king disguised himself as a poor beggar. He wore tattered clothes, covered his face with dust, and left the palace quietly. He sat near the palace gates where Marcus stood watch. The beggar's voice was weak as he said, "Kind sir, I'm hungry. Could you spare me a little food?" Marcus looked at the beggar, unaware it was his king. "I am on duty," Marcus replied, "but wait here." He reached into his own pouch and pulled out a piece of bread he had saved for his meal. "Take this," he said gently. "It's not much, but it will ease your hunger." The disguised king nodded slowly and whispered, "Thank you, kind guard." He limped away, but in his heart, King Adrian smiled. Marcus had shown compassion even when it was inconvenient. The next day, the king returned again in disguise. This time, he shivered as if from cold. "Please, sir," the beggar said, "I have no cloak. The nights are freezing." Marcus looked at him and sighed. He removed his own outer cloak, leaving himself with only a thin tunic. "Take this," he said. "I will manage. A man can survive cold with strength, but not without kindness." The beggar thanked him and disappeared once again. But this time, Marcus struggled through the night, trembling as he patrolled without warmth. Still, he never regretted what he had given. On the third day, the king disguised himself once more, but this time he made the test even harder. He came limping, clutching his side, pretending to be wounded. "Sir," he groaned, "the town guards chase me away. I have nowhere to rest. Please, let me hide here for a while." Marcus hesitated. He knew the law. No stranger was allowed inside the palace gates without the king's permission. If he let the beggar in, he could be punished, even executed, for disobeying royal orders. But as he looked at the weak and trembling man, Marcus felt compassion rise in his heart. His duty told him no, but his conscience whispered yes. Finally, Marcus took a deep breath and said, "Come inside. I will take the punishment if I must, but I cannot leave you out here to die." He helped the beggar through the gate, guided him to a small guard's chamber, and offered him water. Marcus knew he might lose his position, his honor, even his life, but in that moment, he chose sacrifice over fear. Suddenly the beggar stood tall. He pulled back his hood, wiped the dust from his face, and before Marcus stood not a poor man, but King Adrian himself. Marcus froze in shock and dropped to his knees. "Your Majesty, I didn't know. Please forgive me." The king placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. "Rise, my faithful guard," he said with a smile. "You have passed the test." Tears filled Marcus's eyes. "Test, my lord." King Adrian nodded. "Yes. I wanted to know whether your loyalty was only duty to me as king, or whether it came from the goodness of your heart. When you gave your food, you showed compassion. When you gave your cloak, you showed sacrifice. And today, when you risked your life by breaking the law to protect a stranger, you showed me that your loyalty is not just to a king, but to humanity itself. The king declared before all the palace, "From this day, Marcus shall not only be my guard, but my brother in trust, for his loyalty is proven not by words, but by deeds." And so, Marcus's loyalty, tested in secret, brought him honor greater than any reward. This story teaches us that true loyalty is not about obeying out of fear or serving out of duty. It is about compassion, sacrifice, and doing what is right, even when it costs us something. The greatest loyalty is not shown in comfort, but in sacrifice. So in your life, remember this: loyalty to family, friends, or values will sometimes require giving up something precious, but in the end, those sacrifices are never wasted because they prove the strength of your heart. Stay loyal, stay kind, and let your actions speak louder than your words, because the world does not remember what we promise, it remembers what we sacrifice.